Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how CEOs, founders, and senior executives sell their ideas, point of view, and personal brand to the people who matter most. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want to build market eminence, amplify your influence, and attract high-value prospects, investors, partners, talent, and media opportunities with less chasing and more confidence. Let's go. She's back. We don't know if it's the fourth time, the fifth time, the sixth time, but I cannot get enough Ellen Melko Moore, and neither can you. Welcome back to the show, my friend.
Oh, thank you. I feel like a returning champion.
Well, you are a returning champion, if nothing else, just purely in the endurance round.
Yeah,
purely in the
true.
Endurance competition.
That's true. I've had to, you've had to endure me many times. You're doing a great job. Thank you so much for having me.
You are always up to some amazing, cool things. You run the super tight empire, and we are going to talk about so much good stuff. We're going to talk about the bitch slap of truth. We're going to talk about your new book with the same title. We're going to talk about how to capture attention in the time of the AI apocalypse. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. We're going to talk about LinkedIn video. Oh my God. But before we get to all of that, for the few poor saps who don't know the Ellen Melko Moore story, will you please just briefly share your professional journey that brought you to the amazing work that you're doing today?
Thank you. I will do my best. So I'm an escaped recovering academic. I taught the rhetoric of persuasion and influence at University of Denver for 10 years. I wanted to get paid to read books and talk about them, but I did not want to be involved with academic department politics. So I looked around to see if anyone else would pay me to read books and talk about them. Wound up creating the world's first company for people in book clubs, book groups. So I was an early internet business in 2000 era, 2001, the dot-com era. I figured out the power from that of being a category creator, because when Oprah and Gail needed someone to help create the blueprint for the original Oprah Book Club, they had no one to ask but me, because there wasn't anyone else in my category. So then, because I had the teaching experience and I had an early success in business completely by accident, I didn't know Jack. I didn't know anything, but I understood audience. And that's why it worked, I think. Anyway, so people said, hey, can you teach me to have that kind of successful business that you had as a thought leader, doing something weird and unusual? And so then, during the 2008 coaching consultant revolution, there I was, fresh off the farm, ready to go. And that's what I've been doing ever since, is helping people create really unique brand positions that create them as a category creator, which is a step beyond thought leader, in my opinion. So
very much so. Absolutely. Well, so one of the signature themes, and we're going to talk about being memorable and repeatable and referable, but when people talk about Ellen Melko Moore, and they do, and they're about to do so even more, one of the things that they repeat, and the word of mouth kind of idea virus starts to spread, is around this concept of the bitch slap of truth. That's right, my friends. The E rating has just left this episode. Goodbye. Bitch slap of truth, otherwise known as BSOT. What is that, and why is it important?
It originally got created about 10 years ago. I did an event. I bet someone that I could get 500 people to pay $100 to go to an evening event with people they had never heard of, speakers they had never heard of. And so I made someone a $50,000 bet. And I said, it's all about the name. It's all about what you name things. That's what creates that kind of immediate interest or developing emotional allegiance. So we called this evening the Bitch Slap of Truth. We had 5 speakers deliver what we called like TED Talks, but with more comedy and cursing. So it was sort of a non-PBS type of TED Talk event. And it was successful, and we did sell over 600 tickets. And then everyone was like, oh, this is going to be your next business. And then I realized that I would have to become like some sort of event planner. Like I looked at the business model and I was like, oh crap, I don't want to do this. No. So I saved that idea, the bitch slap of truth, because people just loved it. Like at that event, we had people buying t-shirts and pens and all this stuff for something they didn't even know what it was. Right. But anyway, then later when I've been, David, behind the scenes, I've helped write, I think like over 40 TED Talks, and not just TEDx, but TED. And I realized that this concept of the bitch slap of truth really fit in with kind of one of my core ideas, which is we want to understand the audience. We want to understand what the audience is already hearing from all your colleagues, all your competitors, all your everybody, right? The blah, blah, blah of September 2025, right? And whatever time you're listening to this, substitute, that time, right?
Yeah.
And we know that changes so quickly because in a digital age, it does. So you need a perspective that makes them think utterly the opposite of something they have been told by everyone else. And you don't have to be like mean or aggressive or, insult anyone with your bitch slap of truth, but it's really about turning a concept on its head. So if you just think of a couple sort of famous TED Talks, for example, if you think about Brene Brown, that is the rebranding. The old idea was professional vulnerability is weak. That's the old narrative. What I'm calling a bitch slap narrative is professional vulnerability is a strength.
Yeah.
And it's profitable, right? Or, Simon Sinek, start with why. Well, what do most people start with? They start with their goals and their vision and where do we want to be in 5 years? And he's saying, no, think about it differently. And I just mentioned those two, not because I had anything to do with them, because I didn't, but they're good, popular examples of how shifting perspective can start to really create this emotional biological reaction in people. And that's what we're trying to do with all our work. I want emotional biological reactions.
So let's talk about this, because this is going to we're going to talk about your book, we're going to talk about LinkedIn, we're going to talk about video, but I think the through line and the DNA of your brilliance, because I have worked with you and I am a loud and proud client and advocate and fan.
Thank you.
Is you embolden people to share. It's not a gimmick. It's not contrarian for being for the sake of being contrarian. It's not a PR stunt. It's not a gimmick. It's not a flash in the pan attention grab. It is a profound differentiator around really compelling positioning that is also polarizing, meaning it's going to turn away your bad fits.
Yes.
Don't panic, anybody. We're only turning away the bad fits, and it's going to magnetically hyper attract the best fits. And so everything you do with Ellen, it's about, now I forget your acronym, please excuse me. It's not your ideal client. It's like the super client profile.
We call it most lucrative client, or MLC. And that is about the person with the highest ability to pay, the highest eagerness to pay, which is different than ability.
Yes.
The most fun for you and your team to be around, like the most inspiring, exciting, worthwhile. And then finally, someone who's like the most easy to find or tap into.
Oh,
right? Like, how can we plug into this market? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a digital plug-in. It could be personal networking connections.
Yeah.
But those are the four factors that we kind of look at. And then what makes it, like you just said, so much fun is once we understand who this person is and we're like locked and loaded, right? Now we can attract and repel in equal measure. And I guess I realized how important that was when I did a podcast that was like super popular. I was a guest on a podcast. And then over the next 2 weeks, I had like 50 appointments with people who couldn't afford us, weren't the target client. And I started to realize, wow, like getting appointments with a bunch of the not quite right people is super high cost.
Oh, yes.
To energy and time. So
yes.
that's really what it's about, is once we've isolated that person, now we can attract them and repel everyone else. Yeah.
The most lucrative client is such a brilliant idea. Hold on. This one is so good, even I'm taking notes. Listen, are you a CEO, founder, or corporate executive ready to fix your market obscurity problem and gain the market eminence you know you and your company deserve? Cool. Book your private Market Eminence Roadmap call with me, and let's see what might be possible for you. The link is simple. doitmarketing.com/call. See you over there. Now, I gotta get back to taking more notes. Talk a little bit about your book, because when I heard that Ellen Melko Moore is writing a book, I'm like, how do I get my hands on it? When's it coming out? I need to buy 50 copies. I need to buy a copy for every single client. I need to buy a copy for 100 of my friends. Tell us about what's the book, what's in the book, and whet our appetites. I'm already drooling, but it's for the listeners.
Thank you. Okay, so the working title of the book, at least for now, until my editor slaps it out of my hands, it's called The Bitch Slap of Truth: Getting and Keeping Attention During the AI Apocalypse. And the argument is very simple of the book. The argument is the old law of supply and demand, right? If we're overwhelmed with content because of AI, if we're overwhelmed with competition because of all the new coaches, consultants, and client experts entering fields, right? Well, then the one thing that becomes rarer, the one thing that becomes most valuable and precious is audience. And people used to think that content was king. Remember, David, everyone said content was king. And I would say content is pauper. Like, this is not a good time to be thinking about putting out content, put out content, right? What you need instead is this, and what the book talks about is getting this audience articulation lock, like locked and loaded, i.e. we have that really specific, most lucrative target client. Now, in order to create what we call a bitch slap of truth message, we have to do a careful study of what that person, your most lucrative client person, is already hearing from all the colleagues, competitors, blah, 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 right? No. So once you see that, now you have a chance to create a bitch slap of truth that literally knocks the old truth out of their heads. And not to be too philosophical about this, but when people say, well, what does the truth mean? I always say, this is the kind of truth where we can ignore it, this kind of truth. Like, we could ignore the AI apocalypse. We could ignore it, but it won't ignore us, right? I could have all kinds of theories and beliefs and opinions about gravity, but ultimately gravity is not super interested in, my perspective. So what we need to do to prepare for this time and really be locked and loaded for this time is create a position and a message that creates instant allegiance. And the book shows you how to do that. So we've got lots of examples from both our clients and then like different popular campaigns and experts that you're going to know about. So this will really land for you. We show you the exact process of how to create it. And then once you've got it created, we lead you into the dark, what I like to call the dark triad. So the dark triad is just my joking name. In psychology, the dark triad is about certain personality types, narcissism, psychopathy, Machiavellianism. Well, this is just a joke, but I think it's kind of funny because basically what we've got to do is become these, attention-seeking people. But if you want a 10x or 20x or 60x, like some of our clients, you're going to need that dark triad. And the dark triad is your book. The dark triad is your speech, keynote, TED Talk, whatever you'd like to call it. And then finally, some type of ongoing channel, such as a podcast, a YouTube, a Patreon, something like that, where people can get more involved. So I'm really envisioning it. Well, I'm still in my second draft, so we'll see if it turns out like I think, but I'm really envisioning it as kind of a survival guide for this next period of time. And David, it just breaks my heart when people think, they're not good at what they do, or that nobody likes, if they're really struggling with getting the maybe bang in business they used to get. I want people to understand it's not their fault. Like the field, we have gone from a local fun, 5K fun run to the Olympics here. So we need kind of Olympic skills in my
Yes. And before we turned on the microphones, you made such a great point that a lot of people teach the strategy, not this strategy, because then you'll get sued if you're teaching Ellen's strategy. But they teach a strategic layer of this.
Yes, they do.
And you leave whatever that is, that keynote, that seminar, that coach, and you're like, okay, well, now I kind of know what I'm doing wrong and what I'm doing right, but what do I do with it? And what, Ellen, you're doing is you are giving them actionable, tangible, like, here is what your TED Talk should be about. Here are the points you need to make in your TED Talk. Here is the theme of your podcast. Probably here should be the name of your podcast.
We're big on names.
Here are the segment titles of your podcast, like Dark Triad, Bitch Slap of Truth. We're going to talk about Tight 40. No one knows what that is, but hang on, give me a minute. We'll get there. Having these, what I call these, this is not my term, but it's a term I heard years ago and it kind of stuck with me. These are mental handles. You're putting fantastic mental handles on your concepts. So people will leave, let's say they hear you speak and they go, oh my God, I totally need to get my bitch slap of truth dialed in. You know what? I got 2 legs of the Dark Triad, but I'm missing that 3rd leg. Tight 40, I'm doing video on LinkedIn all the time. I never thought that my problem is Tight 40 ain't that tight. It's kind of loosey-goosey, messy 40. And you don't want loosey-goosey, messy 40. So I love these mental handles that you're putting on your concepts.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, as you know, David, people kind of can't afford to be perhaps as, expanding and exploratory with all the thoughts and all the things as we once were. We are kind of being asked to be really focused or super tight, haha.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think the key distinction for me is that, and what I'm hoping to do in the book is also, I want to put in some checklists about how to make sure your shit doesn't sound like AI trying to be contrarian, because human beings can hear that. Most of us can. And so I love that people are working with AI to create all this wonderful stuff. It's amazing. I'm not against that. I just want to make sure that when people talk, whether it's in a podcast, a book, a speech, whatever, you are creating biological reactions. And biological reactions mean you can see it in people's posture. Like if you're giving a speech, you can see the way they shift. You can see the way people look, the way they lean. If you're talking on a Zoom, like one of my clients just gave a speech for like 100 of his perfect, insanely wealthy clients. And when he came to his bitch slap, I saw 40 of those heads tilt. Just slightly. You know how we do as human beings? Like it's kind of
like the dog.
Yeah, like that. Right. Right. We're considering, we're taking it in.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for that, because once people can not only go do something with your bitch slap of truth right afterwards, but then they can go run and tell someone, if they're that kind of person. Not everybody is, but if they can be like, oh my gosh, I just heard this thing. And then they can instantly repeat your idea, even if they don't have it word for word perfect, but the idea is solid enough that it's so viral that you do not need to be present to explain it.
Right.
Like those are kind of the criteria we're looking for. If that makes sense.
I call that bathroom buzz or hallway buzz, because if you're at a big conference, you're doing one of the general sessions.
Oh, that's so
they
smart.
let out after the general session. Everyone's in the bathroom. The men are with the men, the women are with the women, all the in-between folks are choosing their bathroom, whatever you want to do. What are you overhearing in the stalls?
Yes.
Right? And what are you overhearing at the sink going, man, that bitch slap of truth. That was amazing. Wasn't that great? Do you have one? I'm working on one right now. I jotted on the back of my napkin at my table. This is great. And you literally, you want to foreshadow, what do you want them to say to each other in the bathroom as they're washing their hands, and then reverse engineer that.
So David,
good.
That's brilliant. And so, we want to kind of give you the tools to engineer it. We want to give you the tools to test it, which is one of the things I love about LinkedIn. You can test an articulation in exactly 2 weeks and find out whether it's hitting or not.
Talk about that testing process. I know you helped me with this, but tell people what that means.
Well, there's a couple different ways to do it, but one easy way is, let's say we know exactly that your most lucrative target client is, I don't know, I'm just thinking of our mutual friend, Henry DeVries, and how he works with agency owners, right? Sure. So let's say it's agency owners is your target client. Well, if you create the right type of connection request on LinkedIn and you say, hey, David Newman, here's why I like you. Okay. And I say something, I'm talking to you, not hundreds of people who look like David, but David. And then I say, check out my profile when you get a chance and see if it makes sense to connect. So we can test that in batches. Like, say we put together a bitch slap that's very obvious in your banner and your headline, maybe even a little bit in your about section. And we test, say, 20 people just with a connection request, and see how many of those people, even if it's their poor assistant whose job it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, how many of those people agree to connect, versus if we alter it slightly, test that same other group of people just with a connection request. And again, that's why I got into LinkedIn, is I love that it doesn't cost any money and you can just switch it up as much as you want. You don't have to get a graphic designer involved. Like, that's why I got interested in LinkedIn, was because of that ability. Yeah.
I love that. Well, let's talk about LinkedIn video.
Yes.
Probably the most misunderstood, misused, underutilized, underappreciated, monetized, right? Because if you do it right, it could bring you clients probably faster than anything else.
Oh, it absolutely can. And, listen, video isn't for everybody, and that's okay. And when I'm talking about video, I want people to remember, it doesn't necessarily have to be a video of you. Okay. Like, that's awesome if it is, if you're comfortable being on camera. But the key piece is, well, first of all, we got to understand the redheaded step uncle of social media that is LinkedIn, which is the oldest platform. It's older than MySpace. People may not remember this, but when they were invented, and still to this day, they do not think of themselves as a social media platform, which is why there's weird stuff that happens there that happens almost nowhere else. Right? Now, to give them their due, many other people have tried to compete with LinkedIn on being an alternative professional network, and no one has survived. So good job then. But at their recent conference, LinkedIn announced that they are going to be monetizing video creators. It just makes me laugh because this is so LinkedIn. Like 10 years later, they're like, yeah, maybe people like this video. I don't know. Anyway, so what exactly that means, we have yet to find out. And I wouldn't hold your breath on the monetization thing, because LinkedIn is also known for like announcing things that they later withdraw, or just like throw to the wolves, like LinkedIn Lives. Don't do LinkedIn Lives. Do not do them unless you are effing brilliant articulate speaker where people fall down at your feet drooling.
So there's tip number 17 is create the video and then upload the video asset. Do not do your videos as LinkedIn Lives.
I would say not, unless you're going to do a 40-second LinkedIn Live. So let's talk about the type 40. Okay, so they're going to there's an opportunity here. Why does video, as it is right now, generally not work so well on LinkedIn? For the most part, you've got people who are posting, like, they've kind of got the idea. So they're posting like 3-minute videos, which is certainly better than the 15-minute videos or the 60-minute LinkedIn Lives that they were posting. And just remember, like, people, I don't know about you, David, but like I can get lost on YouTube for hours. Like
yes.
I love it. I minorly enjoy Facebook and Instagram to have stupid conversations with my high school and college friends, but I have never gone on LinkedIn for pleasure. Like I've never been like, God, you know what I want to do? It's just get a beer and a bourbon and just hang out on LinkedIn, right? Okay. So once you understand that difference,
yeah,
you get why video has to be totally different on LinkedIn, right? And yet it's not TikTok either. So we're not just doing like little 15-second, videos of, your cat freaking out. Although if you did them, I would watch them. But anyway, we call it a tight 40. So a tight 40 just means you can post videos that are 40 seconds or fewer, with some nice, transcription at the bottom so we can see your happy little words, because most people get on LinkedIn with the sound off.
Yeah.
And it's in that 40 seconds that we're drawing someone in. We're delivering a single one of these points, right? Like David Newman could do multiple short videos on the bathroom buzz and the hallway buzz. And that would be like the right size topic, right?
Yeah.
Like that would actually be a really fun series. And then the idea is that you're getting people hooked on who you are in these little short bites versus sort of trying to ask people to do that for 3 minutes when they don't know you yet. They don't know if you're fun enough to stop. Like they're not having fun on LinkedIn. They're not there to have fun. So they don't really know if they want to spend 3 minutes on you. So like, warm them up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So now the tight 40, you upload this video and the video could be a pointer. So for example, it could point to a longer video. It could point to a blog post. There may even be text. There may be an article that is in that same post where the video is. So this sounds like it's fairly versatile. Where do you recommend people start if they're doing a tight 40? Should it be, hey, put some text in the post and talk about what that's about?
I think just start with you're getting people hooked on you. That's the job, right? So there's a guy, a buddy of mine, a fellow LinkedIn buddy named Kenneth Nell. I'll give him a shout out. Hey, Kenneth, from South Africa. He does short form video almost every day. And he does a good job. I like the way he does it. He has content in the post, and the video is part of the post. And it's sort of set up so you can either read the content or watch the video.
Yeah.
Or do both. And his videos do tend to be 90 seconds or shorter. And I don't want to terrify people that, oh my gosh, 60 seconds is too long. I'm saying aim for 40. If you go a few seconds over, whatever, but like focus on getting good at short is what I'm trying to say. Okay. When I tend to do them, I usually do them with my clients, I have them put in content in the post that makes them want to watch the video. Like they can't skip the video. And that's where I kind of tend like curiosity, gap and hooks and get people to watch, right? Because my initial desire is just to get people hooked the same way they're hooked on short form video anywhere else. Like I want to keep seeing this. I want to keep seeing this. I want to keep seeing this person. This person has value for me, right? And then I would just say, practice that first. Because anytime you're putting links to blogs or longer YouTube or anything like that, you're going to get dinged because, of course, LinkedIn doesn't want you taking people off the platform, just like platforms don't. Now, once you've got people started hooked and watching and sharing, should you take them off and damn LinkedIn and their algorithm? Absolutely. Like their algorithm does not work for you. So, that I think your focus is, how could I drop value in 40 seconds, making it entertaining and useful for people? And it's a bit like doing a haiku poem. Remember haiku from elementary school?
Oh, yes.
School? If you have to do something in 575, you're forced to kind of reduce it down to its most snappy elements.
Yes.
So am I answering the question?
You totally are.
Okay.
I have a related question. Yeah, and there's so many people that are just trying to shortcut this. And
you can tell. Mm-hmm.
And you can totally tell. But I'll tell you, from a business owner perspective, I'm being vulnerable here. Thank you, Brene Brown.
Let's do it. Yeah, it's powerful, David. Yeah.
What I really love about your concept of allegiance, I have found that winning the race for attention is freaking exhausting.
Oh my gosh,
It's
no.
exhausting.
Hard.
Whereas everything is like, I call it the great monkey show. Like you
Yeah.
always have to show up. You always have to do the song and dance and the, hey, look at me. Whereas allegiance is an asset that accumulates. It's like the
Yes.
power of compound interest.
Yes.
That the more that you build allegiance, the less hard you have to work on an ongoing basis. So it's kind of like, it's like the flywheel concept, right? That you put some energy and momentum into it for consistency.
Yep.
But then that allegiance starts helping you. And then people tell others. And then others are like, now you have, there's this adhesion concept with allegiance that you don't get with attention, because attention is fleeting and allegiance is permanent.
It really, really is. And I definitely developed this because I just don't like to work too hard. I'm a type B person and I'm kind of a spaz. So I wanted to create, if you've got messaging that is really locked and loaded, really delivering that bitch slap, creating a shift in perspective and allegiance, like Brene Brown could never do anything again for 20 years. And if she popped up, like immediately people would go nuts, yes. Right? It's not a social media strategy. And I think Brene Brown is a very brilliant social scientist, but it's not like what she did is unattainable by the rest of us. It just isn't. No. And so if you're really focusing on an idea that's really special and you're making your people feel special and seen, right? And then delivering that shift, I don't do a ton of content at all. Like really, I do very minimal content. And that's part of it, is that I've been here for a long time. So I've built up allegiance and people have had to hear me yammer in various.
Holy smokes, so much value in this episode. Listen, if you are loving what you're hearing, feel free to download, subscribe, tell a friend, leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to The Selling Show. Now, back to the interview. Well, another thing I wanted to ask you about is CEOs, thought leaders, professional experts of any kind. Mm-hmm. They might say, Ellen, our company does whatever. Our company does cybersecurity. Our company does, we do HR, personnel, record audits, whatever. I've said it all before. I don't really have a wide variety. There's not a million topics. Talk about the power of repetition, showing up with consistency, and how even adding a little bit of nuance to a message that you've said and taught and preached before still builds that allegiance.
Oh, 100%. I think the cybersecurity one is great. First off, in cybersecurity, you're in a perfect world because people are always going to want to know the latest and greatest based on the depth of your expertise, right? Yeah. So if you have a favorite theme within that, you could be addressing in little bits, 30, 40-second bits, right? If we're talking about LinkedIn or anywhere else, here's what to think, apply our familiar principle of blah, 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 whatever their familiar principle is, to this, and here's what you're going to see, right? And so I think people don't have to be the most brilliant creatives, most brilliant writers, the most brilliant orators or rhetoricians or anything like that. If your people feel special, you are the expert in them, they won't care. They just want to see you a lot because it makes them feel safe. Yeah. Makes them feel seen. They're like, David's got me on this. David Newman is my guy. I feel gotten by him. He understands. And as it happens, you are also a brilliant marketer and rhetorician and all those things. But I think sometimes people get a little intimidated because, maybe they're brilliant at something involving technology or mechanics or, something very technical. Yes. But if we see you on the regular sharing even just one little thing that we've been Googling and chat GPTing and blah, blah, blahing, we don't need you to have an insight that has never occurred before in the history of robotics.
Yeah.
Right? We just need you.
Yeah.
We just need you.
So much good stuff. I want to ask you one more question. I mean, we could keep talking for hours, but for now,
as you know, I can indeed talk for hours.
Well, and so much value. This has been so fantastic. You and I both talked about AI and about you talk specifically about the AI apocalypse. I talk about being AI proof, that you need to show up with your personality and your sense of humor and your, et cetera, et cetera. People might listen to that. They might hear you talk about AI, hear me talk about AI and go, oh, they're anti-AI. They don't like AI. They think AI is the enemy. So let's clarify that. What is the appropriate role for 7- and 8-figure CEOs, founders, and experts? What's the appropriate role that they should have AI as their thought partner or content assistant, or what is it?
I mean, I got to go back to the Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI, joked recently, like, what does AI think of us? Well, what do we think of chickens? Right? Like, how do we regard chickens? Okay. So is it our partner and thought leader into the future? I have no idea. And anyone who tells you they do know is lying, as far as I can tell. Yeah. We don't really know. But what we do know is that we are human beings. And ultimately, right now, we are the apex predator, i.e., we are the ones who make the decisions about what to buy, what to choose, what to watch, what to listen to, and what to have allegiance to. So I think AI, as it exists currently today in the recording of this video, is an incredible partner. And I love that I can work with my clients and whatever their favorite AI technology is to develop some of this stuff. It's amazing. It's such a time saver. I absolutely love it. I can give people strategies and formulas that they can then implement without having spent, 15 years in academia learning to be a writer. It's amazing. I love it. And I just think that people are really going to be required to be extra big in their human technology. I think if you think about AI getting bigger and bigger, we need to have, I know it sounds a bit woo-woo, but I think people's humanity is going to be required to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And here's why. All of us grew up in a time of history, human history, where to the victor go the spoils, and the spoils go to the victor who knows more information, the most information, the fastest information. Those are the people that win. Those are the people get paid big. Well, now we're entering an era where knowing a bunch of stuff is not going to be super helpful. Okay. So it's not going to be as helpful as it was.
Yeah.
This is why leaders, execs, CEOs, and David, you and I both work with a lot of entrepreneurial companies. People are really going to be required to kind of expand their humanity. And that means letting us see your personality, letting us see even just a tiny bit of you every day online or every other day or twice a week, whatever it is. And then leaders are going to have to be comfortable saying things like, I don't know the answer, but here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And that's just like leaders in battles everywhere, right? And I'm trying not to wax too philosophical, but I do think we're not quite prepared for all that's about to come. And in the meantime, I certainly don't hate AI. That is not an accurate statement. No.
Well, as we're landing the plane, you, of course, have won yet another award here on The Selling Show. We're coming up on 500 episodes, and you just uttered the scariest line I have ever heard on this show, which is, what does AI think of us? I don't know, David. What do we think of chickens? Holy crap!
Hey, to be fair, that's Jeffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI. That's his line.
So you quoted the scariest line.
The scariest line. Yeah, like, I wish I'd thought
it doesn't even have to be yours. You just brought it to the show.
I did.
You just brought it to the show.
You're welcome. Yes.
So, Bitch Slap of Truth, book is coming. Tell us about the links, the goodies. How can people get and keep in touch with you?
Okay, well, first, please send me a connection request on LinkedIn to Ellen Melko Moore on LinkedIn, and just tell me you heard me on the Selling Show, and I would be delighted to connect with you. And then in the show notes, we'll have a link both for our Bitch Slap of Truth worksheet. Like if you want to work on your own Bitch Slap of Truth, we'll give you some of that formula. And then we'll also have a QR code for where to go to find out more about the book, the work, all the things. So we'll be, if you do message me in anywhere, just please tell me you saw me on the Selling Show. I love knowing that. And thank you all for being here to listen to us chat. I have such a hard time with David because I just love him so much. So I just really want to dive down into the depths of every topic, and hopefully that wasn't too much.
No, this was totally fantastic. You are always an amazing, amazing guest. Value bomb after value bomb after value bomb. So thank you yet again. And we've lost track. And clearly what that means is we have to have you back yet again. But thank you. I want to
come. I've got to come deliver an impassioned speech from us, the chickens. So,
yes.
We're going to need to do that in a few months.
Here's what I need. The book is coming out
January.
And we're going to have little foam characters, chickens. They're wearing t-shirts, the front of which says BSOT, BSOT. And then the back will say super tight, but super tight will have an arrow down towards the chicken's butt because that's where the eggs come out.
Oh my gosh.
See what I'm saying?
I can't wait to pass that along to Mark, my business partner.
Yeah, no, definitely. And cut me in for 50% of the merch.
We'll do.
I need 50% of the chicken merch.
You have my word, David.
You, me, but Hinton gets 10%, but only 10%.
Only 10. He didn't do the work.
Yeah, and we're popularizing this.
Yes, indeed.
Robot AI chickens. All right, my friend. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.